So what we're going to do today is that we're just going to go over timelines once you get an accepted contract, both for the buyer and the seller, and how that uh, rolls out and what to be aware of. So you can take your notes, stay on time, and really pay attention because if you miss timelines, it's a huge disservice to your client.
Right.
And then we're also going to go over right here best practices and risk avoidance, which is key. Then how to take the clients that you have and then expand on that for future business through referrals and reviews. Then going through your post-close follow-up. And then we're also throughout going to do recaps and ahas. And if you have questions at any time, we'll just get everyone else to be quiet. No, it's and this is great. So you get a really good like a one-on-one here. And then time allowing, we'll go over the daily successes. Any questions so far?
Sounds good.
All right. Then I will just start talking and here we go. And as you know, this is out of the MREA. Have you read the MREA? Are you there?
I'm there. I don't know what happened.
Neither do I.
That was
I
strange.
swear I didn't click anything. Well, welcome back. So anyway, here we go. Real estate transactions aren't particularly trouble-free. It's a strenuous and trying time that requires all the attention and effort you can command. And this is out of the MREA book by Gary Keller. I'm sure they have some copies in the office there in Eugene. I highly recommend that. And they also have a workbook. It's a great reference to go back to. The business model is great. That's why we are here. And it's, hold on, I'm so sorry. I'm just making sure it's not the office. So anyway, it's a good thing to have. It's a great resource.
Okay.
And I mean, there's just so much goodness in there. So again, going to the timelines, in a transaction, you work so hard to get that client, you've got something under contract, and now comes the time when you need to be very aware of your timeline. Do you keep records like in your phone? In Command, they do have the task management system, and that's a great way to go. I'm a little, I like doing both, but I prefer paper because that's how I did business for years. So some habits are hard to break. I'm wondering where my video is because I feel weird that you can't see me. Of course, that might be better. Are you okay with this right now?
Yeah, I can see you.
Oh, okay. I'm
Yeah.
just not up on the screen. Okay. There we go. So are you familiar with any of the timelines so far
A little
with
bit.
the contract?
Yeah, a little bit.
So what do you think the timelines are? Let's say you have a buyer's contract.
Like getting them to the seller. I think it's like in 3 days. Is that right?
Um, if once you get an accepted contract, first thing you need to do is give the list of inspectors over to your buyer so they can choose which inspectors they want to get done.
Right.
And generally, it's 10 business days to
Right.
get an inspector out, and then to look at the report. And if you need to put together a repair addendum, you need to be cognizant of that timeline.
Okay.
If you don't do that, and let's say that here we're just using September 2nd to September 13th. At that time, you can, if let's say that you forget to get your inspector in until the 14th of September, over somewhere between the 2nd and the 13th, you need to ask if you can extend your inspection period. And in that contract, in the PIA, professional inspection addendum, you can actually, if you know that your inspectors are backed up. I'm in Klamath. Sometimes during hunting season, it's very difficult to get an inspector out in a timely manner. So if I know that I'm going into hunting season, I'm going to add an extra 5 days for my inspection period.
Okay.
And sometimes the seller may not want to allow that, but you can always explain it. Hey, we want to use John, but he's out of town for, the next 7 days, or he's booked out for 7 days. That's usually easier to explain out. And most people will say, okay, I understand, but always stay on that timeline. And then you also have your closing timeline. So I like to write it out of when I need to have those tasks done. Inspection period is a big one, because that's, what happens if you find out that you've got so many repairs that needs a new roof and the foundation is faulty. If your buyers are willing to move forward and the sellers are willing to accommodate price reduction or serious repairs, then you move forward. If not, you need to make sure that you get your earnest money deposit back for your buyers. So, and another thing that you need to be very aware of is the earnest money. In the contract, it'll tell you 3 to 5 days to get you get to fill in how much time. If you have a buyer that is on the other side of the states and you think it's going to take 3 to 5 days to receive it, you can add that into the contract. But however you fill out that contract, make sure you put those dates into your task management system. So, and then communicate with your buyer. Hey, did you send that out? Need to get that sent out. Otherwise, we can be in breach of contract. Although I'm not an attorney, I just play one in my free time. I'm just kidding. So we've already done that one, and the timelines. So brainstorming, what other things that can you think of within the timelines of tasks that might need to be done?
I would just say communication about, like you said, appraisals and earnest money, and I don't know. It's kind of the things that pop into my mind.
Yeah, so you'll have your inspections, your earnest money, and also right as you go under contract, you've got an agreed contract on that day. Make sure you're very clear about the earnest money deposit, and get your inspections scheduled, and then make sure you send that contract to the lender. So the lender knows that you have an accepted contract. And if you have counter offers that go back and forth, you put that whole bundle together and send it to the lender. That way, that will trigger them to order up the appraisal.
Right.
Good times, right? It's actually pretty exciting. So here we go. What is the first thing that the buyer needs? And so we've just gone over this, the need to know and do. And then you also need to know to stay in communication with your buyer. Make sure that they've called the inspector, or you call for them. Make sure that they've paid the inspector. Most inspectors won't go out until they get paid up front. And then when you get the inspection back, to review it on your own time, I like to review it first and then go to my buyer and say, did you see this? Do you have questions? A lot of the time they'll ask, well, what do you think? And that's when you're in your market center. Sometimes you might want to refer to the principal broker or somebody there to look at it, to kind of help you weed through material items versus superfluous items. And only you will know that client and work in their best interest without scaring them or asking for so much stuff that it turns the seller off to where they just say no.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. And are you a solo agent or are you on a team?
Solo.
Good. So yeah, you'll lean in on, do you go into the office regularly?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, lean in on them. So, and again, here's another timeline, inspector list, earnest money. Of course, let the listing agent know when the inspector is going to be there. Here you'll get the inspection, you'll get the report, you'll put together response to the seller. Then also, when you turn your contract over to the lender, you can ask them, when is the return date? So if it's good to know when your return date is, because that will also help dictate if you're on schedule to close.
Okay.
Now, let's say, well, we'll cover that in a different slide. Things with the appraisal, what if it comes in low, things like that. So common interest interaction points, communicate your deadlines to both your buyer, the listing agent, the lender. Also get in the listing agent will open escrow. Also keep in touch with your escrow office, your title company, and make sure that they've got all the documentation they need. And the same with, let's say your inspector, maybe they find a little bit of dry rot and the inspector needs to go back out to get a clear pest and dry rot report. You need to communicate that with the listing agent, the buyer, and of course the inspector of getting that done. Here we have lender buyer communication. Other third parties. You need to let your buyer know to get an insurance binder, homeowner's insurance, because they can't close on a loan unless they get that homeowner's insurance.
Right.
Or if they want to get a home warranty, they can do that at closing.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll write into a contract. If I'm writing on an older home, I'll ask the sellers if they will pay for a basic home warranty.
Okay.
And then just anything else that you need to schedule, meet up with. It's nice to stay in touch with the listing agent on how their sellers are doing. Does it look like they're getting moved out? Things like that. Now, what happens if you've got tenants? And, you need to keep on top of that timeline as well to make sure those tenants are going to be out on time.
Right.
And additional questions to ask. When am I reminding the buyers to not make big purchases? At the very beginning and throughout the transactions. Don't buy furniture until you close. Don't buy a new, eat ramen for a week. No, just kidding. But don't make any large purchases, because right before they give your last closing disclosure, they will do a last minute check in case they've lost their jobs or quit their jobs, bought anything huge, anything that would affect that credit rating. So make sure you drill that in, even in casual conversation before you go under contract. Then once you go under contract, communicate that a couple of more times, because people get excited, especially first-time homeowners, and they'll want to go buy everything they possibly can for that new home. Also, let them know to set up utilities and how to do it. Any holidays that happen during your escrow process, you're losing 1 day of escrow, which it could ultimately have you close a day later. So let's say you're supposed to close on March 19th and it's a holiday. Guess what? You're closing on the 20th. If you're not cognizant of that at the very beginning, then you have to write an addendum to write in that it's going to take an extra day. And sometimes it can irritate people. Most people, if you get ahead of it, they're pretty easygoing. But last minute pop-ups, a lot of people aren't happy with that. You're also going to get a title report. And if you've never read a title report, lean in on somebody or have the title company help you out with that. And that just is a history on the title of the property. Make sure your buyer gets that when you get it. In Klamath, I hate to say it, usually takes us 2 weeks. Anyplace else in Oregon, a couple of days. So we only have one title company in the whole county. Sometimes we go over the hill, over to Medford. Let's see. And then also learn how to negotiate the inspection report and how to communicate that with your buyers. So again, when do I touch base with the lender, title company, or listing agent? In the very beginning and consistently after. Anytime there's a change, a question, anything like that, just get in there. Ask. And then sometimes you need to find out, is this an active communication or a document? Who it's going to, the best pathway for, find out from your buyer. What's the best way to communicate? Are you okay with DocuSign? How do we follow up after the document has been sent to wherever? Let's say you need to send a document to the home warranty company. Once you get that, make sure you get some type of a receipt and make sure you get it into your compliance folder. That way, everything in that compliance file, if you ever have questions 3 years down the road, it's all right there. You have any questions or anything right now?
Not yet. Just writing it all down, taking notes.
I'll take a breather. So, because I just have a tendency to just go. And so let's say your buyer communicates best by phone, find out what their hours are and let them know what your hours are.
Okay.
sometimes in the past, I've had buyers call me at 9:30 at night with questions because they're, you know, they stay up later than I do. So it's always nice to communicate to your buyers what you're, I usually, you can tell them, due to my family, having twins, I usually don't answer the phone after 7, or the best time to call me is in the evening, is between 8 and 9 after the twins are asleep.
Right.
So, yeah. And it's okay to define, because this is your business. So it's okay for you to define what you're able to do. And let's say you can't talk on the phone, find out if they're good with texting. You can text me at any hour. If it's late in the evening, I won't respond until the next morning.
Right.
So that's a great way to communicate. And people appreciate that because they don't know, because it's not like it's a storefront where you walk in and out all the time.
Right.
And, it's just always nice. I'm pointing at my screen, to write things out. Either in your task sheet, through the command system, or if you keep hard copy files, just have a checklist of, have I done this? And I like to take notes, and I hold on to those notes because they trigger, hey, I need to do this, or this is what we talked about. So sometimes you need to remind your buyer, hey, don't you remember on Friday, you were busy, but this is what we discussed. Are you still good with that? And get confirmation constantly. So do you have any questions about this right here?
I don't think so.
Okay. Now we're going to switch over to the seller side, and who's involved in the transaction. So you're the listing agent, and you go under contract. You're allowed, when you get that contract, it's okay to call the lender and ask them, is this pre-qualification or a pre-approval? How long before the buyer's file goes to underwriting? You can ask those questions of the lender. Are they in good standing? And you can reach out to the lender as the listing agent throughout the transaction.
Okay.
So who else will be involved in this transaction? The third party people. It's pretty much going to be the same as with the buyers. And, you'll still be in touch with the inspectors, if not directly through the buyer's agent. When it's time for the appraisal, the appraiser will call the listing agent to say, hey, I'm going to be out on Thursday, be around 12 noon. So if, let's say, your sellers are retired and they're going to be home, they can stay home. You just let them know the appraiser's going to be there.
Okay.
Put on a good show. So, what are some of the things that your seller is going to need to do once you go under contract?
First thing that pops into mind is disclosure.
Yep. Send out your I call them SPDs, your SPDs out. And also, are your sellers, do they have a place to go? Are they going to be buying something? Will they be able to move out? Do they need movers? Things along that line. It's
Okay.
usually a conversation before you get an offer, but it's throughout the transaction. It's great to go back and say, remember, how is this going? And how can I help?
Okay.
What is it?
Yeah.
Where can I help you out? I'm just reading my notes here. Stay on point because I'm a blabbermouth. Okay. And so what happens if your seller doesn't have a place to go, or they're still shopping for a home? One of the things you can do is convey that to the buyer's agent. Hey, look, we were under contract, it fell out. We may need to extend closing, or do occupy after close for a week because we're negotiating a new contract, something like that.
Okay.
And your sellers need to know the timeline of inspections and the appraisal. You need to know the timelines on that so you can best, let's say you've got the inspection came through, and now the buyer's agent has given you a repair addendum with a 5-day timeline. You immediately need to investigate to make sure you know that you've got contractors coming out to give bids, or if you're just going to respond and say, no, we're not making any repairs. But that gets tricky, and that's all about negotiations. So again, that's a good time to reach out to your principal broker and say, hey, I need help with this.
Yeah.
But the whole point of it is be aware of those timelines and prepare your client for that.
Right.
And then always ask yourself, what am I doing at each point to bulletproof the transaction and set myself and my sellers up for a successful close? A lot of that is communication, hitting those timelines, and leaning in on the people that are there to support you and help you. And I couldn't ask for a better brokerage network to be a part of, because I can't think of anybody who doesn't help somebody else out in the company. And that's just not looking for brownie points or anything. I legitimately, that's how I view the company. So anyway, seller timelines, same thing. And you can call out to the title company if they don't let you know that the they don't always let you, for us, they don't always let us know when they get the earnest money deposit. So I reach out, hey, do we have it yet? And if not, then I call the buyer's agent and say, hey, I don't see where we've gotten the earnest money in yet. What's going on with that?
Yeah.
The same with the inspection schedule. And let's say the buyer's agent never schedules inspections. Let's say by the 13th, they've not done that. And they come back on the 14th. Oh my gosh, I forgot to get inspections. Well, yeah, you can still have them performed, but you're not obligated to make any repairs or pay attention. That's for the buyer's purpose only, to know what they're buying, because their agent wasn't on top of it.
Right.
And sometimes you got to stand your ground. But then you also look at it, if it is something that's material, if the buyer backs out after the inspection period, then they forfeit their earnest money deposit. So that gives you leverage. And each transaction is different. So I can give you a blanket idea, but it's best to talk to principal broker, your coach, somebody to help you negotiate through that. Sometimes it can blow up in your face. A lot of times you helped your seller get through that inspection period unscathed. Also, with the appraisal, sometimes you will have an appraisal come back that's below value. So that's something else that you need to negotiate. And let's say you're doing a VA loan and it comes up Tidewater, which is undervalue. You can usually, I do believe, 48 hours for a rebuttal. So you can get and you can get the comps that appraiser used, and then compare your comps and create a case. and they may bring the value up to where you thought the value should be or not. If not, then that's a whole new negotiation. Does the seller want to lower the price to meet the appraisal, or tell the buyers you'll need to pay the difference? Those are things that you can do. Again, at that time, that's when you negotiate that part. But this is just to give you an idea of things that happen throughout this whole process and to stay on top of things. If you've got a Tidewater, you want to get on it immediately and talk to that appraiser's office and say, I'm putting in a rebuttal.
Okay.
And then let's say it's easy peasy, house appraises, everything's good. Usually the buyer and listing agent will want to do a final walkthrough through the house. I've had instances as a listing agent where the buyer didn't want to do a walkthrough and the house was vacant. So I did a quick video and photos to protect my seller so they can't come back and say you left the house a mess. No, we didn't. You know,
Yeah.
house, we closed same day. These are my photos. We're good to go.
Yeah.
So any questions right now?
No, it's all good info.
Okay. So the interaction points, communication of deadlines, communication of contract to other parties. You have communication of a list of recommended contractors, movers, cleaners, etc. In some instances, when my seller moves out, I'll send a cleaning crew over just to do a simple move out clean. I've got clients now that just moved out and she just had a baby. So the cleaners are going over on the weekend before we even get it listed, because we had storms, a baby that showed up 2 weeks early, and movers that couldn't get everything. So it's like, just go get into your new home. I'll take care of this, and I'll communicate whatever comes our way until we get it live on market.
Yeah.
And it's also thinking of this, if you know contractors and movers and cleaners, a great way to get your name out there is to say, hey, I'm Brianne Brown, and I'm with Keller Williams. I've been I'm with a great office, and here's my business card. If you know of anybody who's looking to buy or sell, I'd be happy to represent them. So,
Yeah.
or
That's a
you
good
let
idea.
them know, hey, if I would like to use you exclusively as a contractor, if you could send some business my way as well. Find a nice way to word it that is not going to get anybody in trouble. But the name
Right.
of the game is to make as many contacts as possible. Even if a contractor never sends you a lead, it's nice to know that you've got somebody in your phone that you can call and they can come out within a day to give you an estimate
Yeah.
on repairs or squeeze you in if you're on a tight timeline.
Yeah.
Same with the movers and cleaners. It's good to get to know your title company, and you can go into the title companies and introduce yourself and ask them, if they have any classes on how to read the title reports, things like that. And it's a great way to build that communication skill and have them know that you're a realtor and you mean business. Same with inspectors and the buyer's agent. Always be as respectful and as kind to the buyer's agent. I look at it like this. We're all going to be bumping into each other time and time again throughout the years of being a realtor. So why do I want to cross somebody and have a bad taste in my mouth? It's a lot easier to say, okay, this is this person's traits. So when I go into negotiations, it's easier to predict which way they're going to go and where to find your leverage. And, it's just everybody has their own way, and to just be respectful of that. You may not like it, but respect them for the professionals they are, regardless to whether they're respectful or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just a side note. I don't think it's in any of the books. It just makes business as a whole easier.
Yeah, for sure.
And any amendments, addendums, anything like that, inspection reports, to the other side, title, lending, all of that are communication points that you need to stay on top of. And then with your documents, get them into your compliance folder as quickly as possible. Um, that's the best thing to do. And again, going through the communication with your sellers, which is the best way to communicate, text, phone calls, what type of hours. Are you good with DocuSign? Do I need to come over and meet you in person? Some people will not do DocuSign. So you can either go to their home or you can have them meet you in the office. For me, I like to meet in the office as much as possible because it's a lot easier to meet 3 clients in the office in one day versus to
Yeah.
go to 3 different locations in one day.
Yeah,
But
totally.
again, if you're booked in on that day or you have, appointments for your family, as soon as you possibly can, especially if time is of the essence, go ahead and uh, find a way to get to your client to get those signatures. And if you are having a delay in getting a signature, call the other side, call the buyer's agent and say, hey, look, my seller's going to sign this, but we can't get together today. They'll be signing it tomorrow. I just wanted to make you aware that, we're moving forward. You're not being ignored.
Yeah.
And are there any templates for this that I can use or create to save effort and streamline communication across the transactions? Go back to your command system. It is awesome. And do you have someone helping you on command?
Yeah, I just did some tech training about that today, actually.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah.
your your head's ready to explode with all the
Yeah,
info.
it's a lot.
That's good. And a lot of people are saying, oh, the market's, it's the worst time to jump in. Realtors are leaving, blah, blah. There's never a bad time to start real estate because this way you can get your platform and your foundation built out and fleshed out very well. So, any day is a great day to start in real estate, and it is what you make of it and how you interact, and never be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
Because if anyone's going to help you, it's Keller Williams. So we're just going to go back over the seller timeline. Look over that and let me know if you have any questions.
I don't think so.
It all looks legit. No.
Yeah.
Little levity, make it fun, help some of that stick in there. And again, if you like tech, the old joke is Keller Williams is a tech company that sells real estate. This is a great platform. Some people will still use outside platforms to support their business, but I've used other platforms. I like the command system. It's kind of like my cell phone. It has so many bells and whistles. I use a lot of the basics, and then in time, then I flesh it out and expand. But as far as just jumping in and getting it going, it's a great system. And then as you keep clicking and expanding and learning more, it saves you a lot of money.
Nice.
So do you have any ahas right now? Anything that's sticking with you like, oh wow, that's going to help?
Yeah, I think, just like what you were saying about video proof of the state of the property when people move out, communicating with the seller, letting them know, or the buyer agent, what's happening with your client. I think all of that is good to just remember all the communication points.
And I don't know if you'll still be able to get the recording on this, but you can always go back and refresh
Mhm.
on all of these Ignite courses. It
Mhm.
is in the XBN network. So you can go through, watch it at your own leisure and say, okay, yeah, that's where that form was, like the PowerPoint slides, things like that.
Right. Okay.
And now we're going to go into best practices and risk avoidance. That's a big one right there because everything is at a risk, and people like to blame other people in any profession. It's your fault. You didn't teach me. So it's good to always be on your best behavior, which should be pretty simple and just like a way of life for many people. Sometimes we get stuck because either too much information or not enough information. But if you look at it from risk mitigation, how there's 5 things that can go right and 5 things that can go wrong. Let me find the 5 things that will go right so I don't have to worry about the 5 things that could go wrong. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, as always, communicate clearly and often with everyone involved in that step of the transaction. Let's say you've got husband and wife and they're divorcing, and the husband is avoiding you or is saying you're friendly to the wife, and you're not communicating with him. In the very beginning, when you set things up, make sure, because sometimes they don't even want to be copied on the same email. So you can also send him, the same exact verbiage, and send him an email, send her an email,
Yeah.
send him the text, her a text, and then take copies of those and put them into your compliance folder. So if they ever say, you never told me, I
Yeah.
emailed and I followed it up with a text stating I just emailed.
Right.
This one right here is huge. If you put together your listing presentation or your buyer's presentation of what they can expect, and you get that communicated, this will help you out further down the line. And you don't want to give them so much information, it's overwhelming, but kind of how we've gone over the timeline. This is a timeline that you can expect. And, during this timeline, we may have a few points that we'll need to negotiate, and
Yeah.
just kind of keep it simple until you need to dive in deeper. And always, no matter what you want to call that person on the other side, be nice and professional.
Yeah.
No, and it should come natural because we all know what it's like to be treated poorly, and even in difficult situations. And I've learned to do your very best because we're not robots. Take emotion out of the situation and say, this client has a very valid point. Um, I'm just, and they're yelling at you and screaming at you because for whatever reason they think that you've wronged them, and it happens, especially right now. Um, you don't have to immediately respond. You can say, um, let's say they yell at you, hang up the phone, give it a day before you call back because
Yeah.
they might be, we don't know what they're going through. And so you would just call back and say, hey, yesterday was a rough day. Let's start fresh. Um, you know, let's approach this way or something like that. But
Mhm.
just let it be like water off a duck's back. And looking at your timelines, answer the following questions. Where is the deal at risk of falling apart? Title report, inspections, appraisal. Those are the biggest things. Other things could actually be, somebody never sent their earnest money in, and it's something that some people don't pay attention to, but it's like, oh no, we need to make sure they put their money where their mouth is. Whether you're the buyer's agent or the seller's agent, it's in the contract. So anything that's in that contract, if your side breaches it, that's on you, and it could really just crash the whole party.
Mm-hmm.
And what are the best practices to keep the deal alive? Let's say that the buyer and seller are at an impasse. You can call that other agent and say, hey, we're this far along. We are 2 weeks away from closing. How can we close this gap, this impasse? And then get creative. At that point, pending whatever that situation is, go to your principal broker, go to your coach, reach out to an agent that you trust and say, how would you handle this negotiation?
Yeah.
But it's always best to go to one of the PBs, the principal brokers, and get their opinion. And I've been doing real estate for 7 years, so there's times that I'm like, I want to do this on my own, but I just want a second opinion, and I'll reach out. We use Tammy, and she'll be able to break it down, and then also give a great way to finish it off, to make it the other side, convince them that it's the best deal. It's a win-win, because that's what we always want to do.
Yeah.
Goes back to the WI 4 C's, 2 T's, and an S in the ES. Or yeah, 2 T's and S. There should be an E in there, isn't there? Anyway, matters not. So always look, I always say, I don't want to see a contract die on my table. Many realtors will tell you that. Never let it die on your table. Let's say you've got a house for 500,000 and somebody brings a buyer and they put in an offer for 300,000. And you know that maybe you might be a little bit higher than the market will bear, but how do you explain to your seller to not get angry, offended, and just throw it out the door? You would say, hey, somebody likes this house, and right now there's buyers that think that it's a buyer's market, and they're picking on sellers. It's not you. It's not the value of the home. They're just throwing mud against the wall to see what sticks. But apparently they like it. So where would you like to be? Have that good conversation with your seller. Where would you like to be? If we could get this house closed in 6 weeks and you could then go live on the ocean, where is that sticking point for you in today? And then see if you can bring that buyer up. And you can call the buyer's agent and say, wow, is this all, are they just throwing mud against the wall to see what sticks? Can you give me, without selling out your client, help me out, because my comps show that we're dead on, that, we're a good solid $500,000 home.
Yeah.
And kind of flesh them out. So, but you do your best to keep it alive. You're not going to keep all of them alive. And it stinks, especially if you've already spent 4 or 5 weeks. It just happens. And again, you just shake it off and you move on to the next. You keep that client, you keep it going on, but, and then after a month, if you don't have any action on that house, reach back out to that other buyer's agent and say, hey, has your buyer come to their senses? Do they want to come up and kind of meet us a little closer? Do you think that we can get them to 475 or 470? Something along those lines.
Right.
Good?
Yeah.
And again, always act in your client's best interest, even when it seems to conflict with your own. And that's a hard one, because sometimes you'll see the worst in people, And you've got to remember what your position is. Your job is to help them buy and sell a house, not to judge them for their moral compass or how they feel about buyers, sellers, or real estate agents. I had clients that just hated realtors. Like, well, that's kind of like when people say, I don't like people. And I look around and I'm like, well, I am a people.
Yeah.
But you have to laugh it off and remember what your job is and do your job to the best of your ability. And me personally, I say a prayer for them. And again, live the WI 4 C's 2 T's ES. Yep. So win-win, integrity, commitment, communication, creativity, customers, trust, teamwork. What's the E? Do you remember the E?
I don't remember. I was trying to remember that.
Oh, yeah. And success. Woo!
Yeah.
So any ahas at this point?
I think it's all good. Just like what you're saying, the most risky times being like inspection, title report, appraisal, all of that is good to keep in mind. Setting the client's expectations up front, letting them know what the timeline could potentially look like, all of that.
Yeah. It's, it's exciting. Never a dull moment in real estate, which is good. I like things staying fresh. And then we're going to cover referrals and reviews because you've got clients in front of you. You've got all of these vendors in front of you. Let it work in your favor. Some vendors can say, I don't have a favorite realtor with Keller Williams, but just call Keller Williams as a whole. I've gotten plenty of listings off of people from out of town wanting to deal with Keller Williams agents because we all work together and they know that we're out of the majority of brokerages, that the majority of KW agents are going to be well educated. Even if you don't have deals going on, sit in on those meetings, go back, rewatch the videos on the training, and know the biggest thing is know your market, know your data, know what's going on out there.
Mm-hmm.
And when you relay that, because I have did the home show this last week. And so a lot of the vendors, of course, it's a big social hour. So what's the market doing, Laura? What's going on? How's that going? And it's like, how much time do you have? Because, I'll start bringing things out. So anyway, always look at everything as a future opportunity for repeat and referral business. I mean, it's all there. A lot of people, as we know, move every 5 to 7 years, be it work, upsize, downsize. They want to move to a different side of town to be closer to this person or work. Um, you know, it's there. So keep in touch with those people. Always keep in touch through the command system. There is the touch system, and Mara is like the queen of touches, and that's a good thing. Think about your referral business, how you can reach out to people and ask them to refer people to you. Any conversation that you're at, and not in a creepy Uncle Fester way, but do you know of anybody who's looking to buy or sell? Make that
Mm-hmm.
something so casual. If you're in line at the grocery store, if you overhear someone saying, wow, check out these houses, you can just say, hey, I'm a realtor. Do you know of anyone who's looking to buy a house right now? And, find your own personality and how to deliver that with, again, not being creepy. And then ask your clients for reviews. Could you give me a review, either through Google or any of the other platforms? When you get your website up, then you can ask if somebody sends you a letter, a thank you card. You can ask them, may I publish this on my website? put it in an email. I thank you so much for that. I'm so grateful that you're happy with my service. Your card touched me. May I use what you said, in your thank you card as a testimonial? And the
Yeah.
majority of people, oh, please do. They're happy to help. Any ahas?
I think just thinking about ways to make those connections, that's the hardest part for me, I think, is just making the connection, getting the leads, kind of putting myself out there.
Yeah. It's hard. It within time, again, as we all know, the more you do it, the easier it gets. Like changing diapers. You can do diaper changes in the middle of the night. And then how old are your babies?
They're 5 now.
They're 5 now. So you are going to get so good at making sure lunches are all set and they're good to go as they're going off to school. Now, school is a perfect place to let everyone know you're a realtor.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime there's any of the fundraisers or anything like that, make sure you put Brianne Brown, realtor with Keller Williams.
Yeah.
Find your own tagline, your neighborhood realtor, whatever you need to do, make sure that you follow all the rules of advertising. Make
Mm-hmm.
sure you have realtor with the little stamp there, but
Right.
let them know that you're a realtor. So if they have those, let's say you'll pay for you'll donate $100 for them to do the flyers for something, as long as you get to put your name on there,
Mm-hmm.
for football games or choir, or, well, they're still little, but any of those school functions, if you can
Yeah.
get a banner, or if there's anything that you can donate to put your name on there with a way that they can reach you, your QR code or something,
Mm-hmm.
that, oh my goodness, you're lucky. Schools are a great place to lead gen.
Nice.
Okay, so post, close, and follow up. Guess I should find my notes on that, huh? Any questions right now?
Not yet.
So give me a minute. I guess I have talked a lot. So, uh, I'm teaching a class. Yeah. So here is your smart plans with your touches.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, Mara is the bomb diggity with that. And it's a great way to keep in touch with all of your clients. And what's going to happen, you have a good rapport with your clients and they will refer people to you, and then they will call you, just with basic questions. And like during COVID, we would call, is there anything you need?
Yeah.
I can drop it off and then go away. This is there's one exercise where, especially right now, you can take everybody in your contact list and send them an email, a text, or a card, or all three. Hey, guess what, guys? I'm now a realtor with Keller Williams. You know, who do you know that wants to buy or sell?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, but anyway, we're going back to following up on your transaction. So it is in the command, the smart plans, which they have plenty of videos on how to use those 36 touches or 34. So this is a perfect opportunity to use all of those. Um, there'll be handwritten notes. You can invite them to or for the to build your downline. You can actually, the other agent, if you had a really good transaction, you think they'd be a good fit for Keller Williams, you can send them a card, ask them if they have a question on, uh, anything about Keller Williams. You think it's a great opportunity for anybody that wants to come aboard.
Mhm.
Or you have training night if they wanted to come over and train, be it an agent at a different office, or if it's somebody new that's getting their license. What made you choose Keller Williams?
Um, Honestly, just coming into the office and I talked to Leslie and Eugene, and she showed me all
The
of
bomb.
the training. Yeah, she was very convincing, but all of the training really is what sold me on it.
Yeah, there's through experience, nobody trains you as well as Keller Williams. If you're
Yeah.
open to it, as much knowledge as you want, they're going to give it to you.
Yeah.
Plus, plus. But yeah. And another thing that you can do if you want to kind of recruit or bring more agents on, you can send them a book on how to build a career. You can do the MREA, the one thing. The shift is a good one, especially with the way that the real estate market is. And the good old MREA, and then millionaire real estate investor.
Mhm.
There's some people that just want to be like investor agents. And that's pretty cool too, because they're dealing with people that buy and trade properties.
Yeah.
And some of my favorites are first time homeowners because it's fun. So yeah, follow up on co-agents and you can build your business and your downline by creating those relationships. And it might take 20 to 30 touches or conversations to get them to come over. So, gosh, it's the first time I've ever been ahead of schedule. I don't know how that happened. I stayed on task. So, recapping out of everything that we've gone over, do you have any questions specifically or, from the buyer side, seller side, the follow-up, risk mitigation, how to expand your downline, and then also how to get your referrals and reviews?
Um, I don't think I have any questions at the moment. I currently have an appointment next week with title company. Starting to make those connections, title and escrow, and feel like that's something that I feel a little bit like drinking from a fire hose. Like there's just so much information right now that I'm trying to get it all sorted. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if I have any questions at the moment. Just taking it all
Okay.
in.
Well, we can always go over your daily success system.
Hmm.
Are you familiar with this?
Mara mentioned it at a training I was in just a couple days ago.
Well, you have your um, success system. Um, you can go through, and really what you're trying to do is you're reaching out to have 10 conversations a day with different people that you're a realtor.
Hmm.
Because the more you do it, the more comfortable it becomes, and you become it where it becomes a second nature.
Yeah.
So when you make those conversations, have no expectations. It would be great if someone said, "Hey, yeah, I'm thinking about buying a house," and then you go, "Oh, do you have a lender yet? Have you been pre-approved?" Because I have several lenders, and you can start fleshing out those conversations. And they also have practice earlier in the mornings when you get the emails of what's happening through the week. And so
Mhm.
you can sit in on those or just listen in. And they're simple, usually about 20 minutes. And you hit different topics and you hear how people have different conversations on different topics in real estate. And then you try to get 10 contacts a day. And think about it. If you were to get 10 contacts a day to put through your command system and start sending emails, occasionally a card, a text, the different ways that you can reach out, and it gets varied.
Mhm.
Imagine how many people would know that you're a realtor, and imagine all those other realtors that aren't as well trained and they aren't doing that. You know, a lot of people will forget who the realtor is 3 years from now. You know, oh,
Mhm.
they were with that one company. Oh, honey, do you remember her name? Blah, 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 blah. You know, but if you're always there, and if even if you just send out, postcards or you give your card away when you take the girls out for a walk, again, school is a huge resource. And if you
Mhm.
ever volunteer to help with things, make sure you have a little t-shirt or a jacket or your cap that lets everybody know that you're a Keller Williams agent,
Okay.
because they will reach out to you. My favorite is handwritten notes. This would be a good thing if, you know, the teachers in the school, hey, I don't know your children's names. I just wanted to say thank you for doing XYZ. And I just wanted to let you know that I am a realtor, but I'm a mom number one, but I'm also a realtor. And you don't even have to ask for anything else, but it just lets them know that you're a little bit busier now, but you're still there for your family. And if they have any
Mhm.
questions about real estate, they can ask.
Totally. That's good.
And then the 1051 social media engagement, and they'll break all this down for you. Or enrichments, appointments, agreements, and closing. Um, you practice this on a regular basis and it pays off for you. And always, 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 the Do Not Call Telephone Consumer Protection Act. Be very cognizant of this because the fines are steep. You can check on here. There's the government website that you can check the phone calls if you're going to do cold calling. Many people don't do cold calls now. They do the robocalls or the robo texts. Anytime that you do anything like that, do your due diligence so you don't get smacked with any fees. And anytime you send out mass emails, make sure that there's a place for someone to unsubscribe.
Right.
And right here, you can, if you wanted to do this, um, you can give feedback on training just by the QR code. Oops, too far, too far. There I go, going too far. So I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in relationship with me. When you get nervous about meeting with people, this is just a guideline. How do you feel whenever you read that? Do you feel as though that that you can be engaging in conversations about real estate or about anything really?
Mhm.
Because the bottom line is it's an affirming message that puts you into that really good spirit.
Yeah.
And real estate is really about relationships. Basically, anything in our lives really boils down to a relationship. You have relationships with teachers, you have relationships with um, your grocer, any of the utilities that you use, the things that the people that we work with on a daily basis, those are relationships.
Yeah.
You create a relationship with your clients, and you don't have to be their best friends. You can just reach out every now and again. How's everything going? How's it going with the house? Oh, I understand John was supposed to graduate this year. Is everything going okay? Just I also there is a really good book. It's an older book. It's called Swim with the Sharks. And it's the author last name is McKay. I'm reading off of my bookshelf here.
Okay.
Swim with the Sharks Without Getting Eaten. And basically, he started profiling people years ago, and you just kind of get a bio on your clients. And
Hmm.
when you have that bio, it helps you to remember, and you can put that into your command system. Birthdays. So that's a great opportunity to for a touch, a birthday, an anniversary, the ages of their kids or their kids' birthdays, anything, but be sincere with it. Don't just say, oh,
Yeah.
I've got to do this because I'm looking for something in the end. It's a
Right.
sincere relationship, but you're going to meet so many people that as much as great of a memory that you have, um, it's nice to have those little cues. And oh, I don't remember your son's name, but he's to graduate this year. Even
Hmm.
that's fine because people go,
Yeah.
wow, she deals with hundreds of people a year, and she still remembers that our son's going to graduate this year. Things
Hmm.
along that nature. And so just always be aware everything's a relationship. So
Yeah.
make it a good one.
It's good to
Do your
remember.
part to make it a good one. And then if you have the opportunity to role play, you know, it's good to have someone around that will ask you a question of about anything real estate. So you start wearing that conversation. So you feel
Hmm.
comfortable. If I said, hey, Brianne, how's the market right now? What would you say?
Oh. um, honestly, I don't know. I'm just still figuring it out.
Yeah. So it's well, then the answer would be something like, well, what part of the market? Are you a buyer or
Hmm.
a seller?
Hmm.
And but these are things because I mean, what you signed up 2 weeks ago, so this is a lot
Yeah.
of information. But just be aware of that. And anytime you get to listen in on other people, how they converse with their clients or with other brokers, look for those successful realtors and listen to their conversations and then see how you can adopt that but in your own voice because you need to be
Right.
authentic. People can tell when someone just, you know, is cookie cutter going over it time and time again. But there's certain points that it doesn't matter who's delivering that speech. Certain points need to be made, but the rest of the delivery can be personalized. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, totally.
And prepare your conversation list. I guess this is for cold calling. Not I guess. This is for cold calling on your list and or when you're just calling people that you know. You can write down on cue cards what you would like, just bullet points of what you would like to get across. Um, Hey, Sarah, this is Laura. I haven't talked to you for a while. I wanted to let you know that I'm a realtor with Keller Williams and I'm building up my contact list. Just wanted to let you know what I'm doing now. And if you know of anybody who is looking to buy or sell, if you could send them my way, that would be great. Or if you have a name, if it's okay that I give them a call, if you give me their number, is that, I'd be more than happy to help them sell their home, you know.
Yeah.
But if you start writing those conversations out and practicing them, and then just calling people and it's uncomfortable, it's really uncomfortable in the beginning. And then 7 years later, you're just really, you could be like me, very obnoxious about it. No, but it becomes a second nature to where people can approach you and you wear it. You're like, yeah, what is it? What would you
Yeah.
like to know? But you have to go back and you need to study the market. You, um, Right now in your area, get on the MLS and start seeing which houses are fresh on the market, which houses have sold, and just take, if you've got the time, because twins. But if you've got the time, take 30 minutes out, maybe a couple of times a day to comb your MLS.
Yeah.
Eugene's much bigger than Klamath Falls, but get to know those properties, get to know your areas, and start day by day, minute by minute, start creating that local real estate professional, because you can do it,
Mhm.
and the difference between somebody making it and somebody not is one more phone call. Just make
Yeah.
one more phone call.
Yeah.
Just reach out to one more person, answer the phone, and you would be surprised. And, sometimes it'll be rocky, but just take a deep breath, exhale, and go, I got this. Because
Yeah.
I've got 10 more people to call. I have 10 more relationships to create. And you'll do it. Whatever you tell yourself you can do, you'll do it. And plus, there's so many wonderful people within the office that you can just reach out to them, talk to them. They're going to help you.
Yeah.
And then this is another one with lead gen conversations. Um, you know, you do it, you practice it as you would with spelling, with reading, all of the basics, all of the elementary primaries. Um, you just start doing it. The more you do it, the better you get until it becomes so natural you don't even think about it.
Mhm.
You'll be in the grocery store taking a phone call and you'll talk real estate and you'll have other people say, "Oh, are you a realtor?" And again, if you can get t-shirts or a ball cap or a jacket that has your Keller Williams swag on there, people will people will strike up conversations. It's a it's a conversation everybody wants to have.
Nice.
What's happening in the real estate market? Because that's what drives economies. So when you
Yeah.
start breaking it down that way, people want to know. And there's a lot of people that they um, they're curious or they think that they know more than a realtor, and I don't mean that in a bad way. So they just want to test you. They want to see if
Yeah.
you're really a realtor.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, as in any business, in any profession, there's a handful of people that you think, gosh, how did you make it in this business for 20 years? It's proof that lucky, some people are just lucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the biggest thing is if you don't know, instead of saying, I don't know, go, oh boy, that escapes me. Let me get back to you on that. Plus, it gives you another reason to give them a call.
Yeah.
Well, what about the houses in this area? Did you see that one house? Gosh, I was on the MLS and I missed it. But hey, if you give me your email address, I'll send you the listing information and my opinion, are
Yeah.
you and things like that. But you don't, it's a lot of that is to get comfortable with it, but you also have to be aware of the looky-loos and the tire kickers. Um, to It's great experience, it's great exposure, but don't let people take advantage of you.
Yeah.
And yeah, celebrate your successes. Again, you'll be going over this with more time. Um, Gosh, I can't believe 2 weeks. Good on you. You're just diving right in. The Command and Connect, great platform. Highly recommend it. No, it's great. It has so many bells and whistles that it does make it easy. And then with the training videos, you watch those, they make it to where you could do it, and you can stop a video in case you need to take care of the kids and then get back to it.
Yeah.
And you're at a perfect time to where you can get all of that set up, and that will be your foundation. And again, Keller Williams has so much education, so many videos. Um, it's anything you want to know. If you can't find it, ask somebody in the office and either they'll point you to it or they'll explain it out for you.
Yeah.
And that's a gift right there.
For sure.
And then the next thing I guess that would be, no, today is Thursday. I don't think they're having this until Monday, but plan your future. That's where you start to line up. How do you see
Mhm.
your career? And they'll help guide you on setting your goals and making your goals. And if you don't know where you want to be in 5 years, then you kind of step it back saying, okay, why did I get into this? What's my goal? How would I like to build this out so my kids have, you know, I can build up a stronger family unit. I can do all of these things for my family. Or, hey, at the end of the year, I want to make enough money to where we can afford Disneyland or whatever. And
Mhm.
and those are personal. You don't have to share those with anybody, but it's for you of what each year, how you want to go about it. And at this point, we're still early in the year. Tell
Yeah.
yourself, I want to do X amount of transactions and then feel comfortable with that. And don't let
Mhm.
it scare you. But anyway, that's going to be a really good session. And last one, any ahas or any other questions, anything you want to talk about?
Oh, this has been really helpful, and, I think just for me to talk to you about being confident about making those connections and reaching out, you had some good ideas about, talking to people at the school. That was definitely gonna follow.
That's going to be your biggest resource.
I
And
mean,
I
definitely
don't,
gonna follow up.
and the flexibility of real estate, any of those, any of those gatherings, midday assemblies, any of that,
Mhm.
show up, get your Keller Williams shirt or jacket on, show up, let
Yeah.
people know. And every single parent you talk to, let them know that you're now with Keller Williams.
Yeah.
And and then do that. And if you feel comfortable enough in conversation, always say, do you know of anybody who's looking to buy or sell? You know?
Mhm.
And if they're like, well, you just started. Yeah, I just started with the company, but don't you understand that I'm working with the best professionals? I've
Mhm.
I've got, you know, a whole office of people. You're not just getting me, you're getting
Yeah.
everybody in my office.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
good.
this is my principal broker, this is my reviewing broker.
Mhm.
They are there for me, and I
Mhm.
am here for you. And you
Yeah.
just you sell it, but you have to be confident in that. If you show the slightest weakness, then they're going to walk right over you.
Yeah.
Sorry, but the more you do it, and have no expectations. Just understand when you're going out and you're first starting, it's a drill. People
Mhm.
get so excited. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to go out there," and then they get defeated because they had high expectations. And that's why with your daily routine. So get you might talk to have 50 conversations in a week. And hey, the numbers, it's a numbers game. The more people you talk to, eventually someone's going to say, oh, yeah, I've been wanting to sell my house. Can you come take a look? And if you don't feel comfortable with that the first time around, get somebody out of your office to go with you.
Yeah.
You know, whoever is available, say, hey, can you go with me?
Mhm.
And if someone says, well, uh, why do you have another person? I really wanted them to see this house with me, and we can all benefit from a second set of eyes.
Yeah.
You know, you
For sure.
explain everything away for being in that client's best interest because it
Mhm.
is,
Yeah.
but I have faith in you that you won't need anybody there. But it's just nice to know when you're starting out that you have a whole office there that is going to back you up
Yeah. It's
100%.
definitely, helps. I feel confident that I can reach out to pretty much anybody at the office. That so far everybody's responded so quickly and kindly.
It's yeah, there well, I love the Eugene office. I wish I didn't have to drive 58 to get there, 97 to 58 on a regular basis. But at the end of spring, going into summer, I will start making trips up to Eugene again. Although my daughter is home, she is really missing Eugene. So I told her
Mm.
when the pass gets safe again, then yeah, we're we're gonna go up so we can just go to Eugene. I can drop in on the office and then we can find some restaurant to have lunch and go shopping, which is one of my
Yeah.
favorite pastimes outside of horseback riding.
Nice.
So, but Brianne, if you would like, you can take down my number.
Yeah.
My name's
Yeah.
Laura Knight, and it's 541 three three
Okay.
one 1729.
729. Okay.
Yeah, text me with any questions.
All right.
And other than that, do you have anything else you want to talk about? Any questions?
I don't think so. This was super helpful. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. And you can also find me on Facebook,
Okay, great.
right? And then, of course, if you ever have anybody down in Klamath Falls, or if you need to learn about Klamath Falls, hit me up.
All right, I will. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You have a great afternoon.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.